everyone, and welcome back to the Unbothered podcast, where we like to chat about America's fifth sport, MTV's The Challenge. And today we have a very special guest with us. I'm sure you recognize him, if not from Real World Austin, then from his span on The Challenge, the one and only Mr. Wes Bergmann. Welcome.
Thank you.
So excited.
What a great intro. I'm happy to be here.
And we are certainly happy to have you here. We haven't seen you for a while. The last time we saw you was Double Agents, getting a shoe to the face, much like 2020 was to everybody else.
Yeah, that was just a big metaphor for the whole year.
It was made into a lot of good memes. I will tell you that right now.
It's true. I laugh with them. I don't mind being the victim of that situation because it's worth it.
Absolutely. And I think you just won a Challenge Mania award for Moment of the Year due to that. So bravo to you and CT, the thrower of the shoe. But we know you like to tease us on social media that you may or may not be cast on an upcoming season. But like I said, we haven't seen you since season 36. So what have you been doing in your off time other than getting swole?
I took off the last season to film another show, which I'm kind of here to talk about, which is called The Blox. It's a 17-episode docuseries about 20 startups living in a mansion that are all competing in a series of tests and games and pitches to decide who is the best entrepreneur on the show. And I moved about 100 different people to Kansas City to do this all, and it took place essentially right when they filmed 37. So I just couldn't do them both, and I told social, like when I realized that they were kind of conflicting, I told social media, I was like, you won't see me on the next one. I just want to set the bar really low because I'm doing this other thing, but I can't really talk about what the other thing is because there was like 14,000 things that could have gone wrong. It didn't go wrong. We're here. It's ready to be published. It goes live on Thursday at like 5:00. And so
nice.
I'm really excited for everybody to see it because, people have heard that I have this other business and I've got this entrepreneurial acumen. But I put myself on a stage there with that much content and that much time where I either am the real deal or I'll be exposed. And I'm the real deal. So everyone's going to enjoy it. It's nerdy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You're not going to come and watch me just like, make new rivals and all this kind of stuff. We're talking, it's like Top Chef meets Shark Tank for startups that are all living in this one house. And it's very educational, very inspiring. And I'm really honored to have the ability to kind of talk to you all about it.
Where can we watch it?
It'll go live. There'll be a handful of places, but the best where it was engineered to be watched is inside of a custom mobile app that's completely free. It's available on the Google Play Store and the iPhone Store. So it'll track your minutes and see how far along you are. You can check off episodes to see which ones you've kind of watched. Then inside of the app is supplementary things that will like behind the scenes, there's podcasts, there's like functional music and guided meditations for entrepreneurs. So it's meant to be watched inside of this one place. So that way we can augment it with all these other things. And it's completely free. There's no subscriptions or one-time fees or whatever. I do like a handful of 30-second commercials inside of the episodes to talk about some of the products that we have, but that's kind of why it's free is we promote some other things that we sell, but it's very, very light. And it's just, it's a very positive spin on everything that I've learned from reality TV is taking the best practices of what makes this genre that we all agree is entertaining. Can we take the best practices from that and kind of put it on top of an entrepreneurship curriculum so that way people can be entertained while kind of accidentally learning, which is the aim.
Yeah, that's really cool because it's like you said, it's something people enjoy watching TV and we enjoy a type of like reality TV format, but something like what you're in the business of, people like me, I have no idea what that is. I don't know how you get into it. I don't know how it works. So it's genius coming up with a docuseries like this that allows us to get that insight, and it might inspire new people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if this works out well, there's lots of anything that requires education, whether it's beauty school or trade school or anything that people have ever needed to learn to become better at for their careers. if this works out well, there's arguments for there should be a docuseries on each one of those things, because it'll make, I mean, so, do any of you guys watch Shark Tank?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Shark Tank takes a rather boring topic, which is startup valuation and traction and fundraising at a very particular stage, and it makes it entertaining, and you don't realize it, but you are learning. Do you know how much smarter the world is at valuing startup companies now than before Shark Tank? It's like they're 3 and 4 letter grades better than the just the society in general. You know when someone's talking, oh, their valuation is crazy, or what do they mean when they say traction, or what kinds of things are required to get this level of valuation? What does equity mean, and how is that traded, and what does that really like translate to in their business? And we as Americans now know those things because of that show. And yes, its first job is to entertain, but it's accidentally teaching us in the process. And what we're trying to do is take all the things that I've learned from being on TV for 20 years, and can we use those tricks to make otherwise boring topics? I mean, we're talking about banking and inbound marketing and fundraising, deal structure, some real nerd stuff, and sprinkle enough reality TV tidbits in there to where it's easy to sit there and watch it. So that way the world can just like kind of accidentally learn while they're being entertained. That's the goal.
Well, and people like competitions. So if, you know, you have all these smart people, you want to see people succeed and things like that. So yeah, that sounds interesting. I would totally watch that.
Are all 17 episodes being released at once, or is it going to be like weekly?
Yep. Yeah. That was a massive debate on our team for many months. And at the end of the day, it's like, I refuse to watch anything on my TV other than the challenge that isn't binge watchable. And so I didn't want to, if I'm sitting there as a customer, I didn't want to like forget how I enjoy watching TV. But there are massive shortcomings to that, right? To basically everything is leading up towards promoting it correctly in the first couple of weeks. Whereas if you dropped it week by week, you'd kind of get a chance to talk about it for 17 weeks and be able to slowly drip the requisite promotion out. So it's a lot more stressful. But you know, it is what it is. I don't want to watch something and then wait a week and then watch it again. That's like that kind of stinks. And so, yep, everything will be available right immediately.
Nice.
Yes. And what is the name of the app?
The app is called the Blox, with an X. It's on Google Play, iPhone App Store. It's the name of the show is called that. So the Blox.
Perfect. And everybody go download it. I will download it. I will watch almost anything that's reality TV and give it a chance. And if I can learn, that's even better. So that is definitely Thursday. You said Thursday, right?
Thursday at 5 p.m. It all clicks over and everything will be live.
Okay, perfect. Eastern
right.
time?
CST.
Okay. So 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
I always have to think about that in my head because we're all different.
Prime TV watching time.
Absolutely. And speaking of TV, as you said, you've been doing it for damn near 20 years, and you started out on The Real World Austin. Can you tell us how that got started for you? Was it like just a chance? Did you actually try out for it?
I went to an open casting call at a bar in Tempe, Arizona, and it was actually the same bar that Nehemiah went to that he got plucked from. So interestingly enough, we both kind of came from that same spot, and we didn't know each other or anything. It was just a big coincidence. And I'd never really wanted to be on TV. It was just an impulse decision, and it worked out really well.
That bar must be lucky.
Right.
That bar is not around anymore, but that bar,
never mind.
that bar was a staple of Arizona State.
Oh, I hate when like the good locations just go away. Makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't
Just
really
feel like
know
part
what
of history.
happened to them because they were around when I left, but I know they're not there anymore. But so I don't know what the story was.
And now your season of The Real World is pretty iconic as far as all the seasons. It's one of the most remembered and probably one of the most loved. And as we've seen, they've started to do Real World Homecomings. Is that something you would consider down the line if they called you all for it?
Yeah, I think to all varying degrees, we all want to do it. But we are the most successful general season. Like there are obviously anomalies here or there where it's like, whoa, mega super successful single person. But on average, our cast is more successful than any other cast. And success means that we're busy. And I could rifle through what everyone's doing, but they're all like booked and not doing TV stuff necessarily, but just their own versions of life and create responsibilities. And the Homecoming, although from what I've gathered, is about a little over a 2-week shoot with some sort of probably miniature quarantine beforehand. And so let's call it 3 weeks. It's a really large commitment to get 7 incredibly busy people, especially, quite frankly, other than a handful, none of us are really trying to make it in the entertainment industry, quite frankly. We all have jobs. So we don't care that much. And in the grand scheme of things, like I continue to go on the challenge because I love the challenge, and I filmed the Blox because I want to educate people about my true passion, which is entrepreneurship. But none of us have like aspirations to like be, I don't know, TV stars and stuff. Like we just want other things. So it's not like we're super motivated to go on it. Now we want to get together and have a formal reunion. And we'd be really entertaining because that's just our natural disposition.
You just have to do it for the fans. We want all of you together.
I'm just saying the fans need to set their expectations very low because it's going to be a scheduling nightmare that more than likely is going to us not being able to happen. Now, Key West, they're a bunch of losers. They have nothing going on. And so they probably should film because they've got, the time. And so you're more likely to see a Key West reunion than you are an Austin reunion because we all like are at the helms of successful businesses and families and we're kind of geniuses and stuff. And it's just not, it's going to be tough to get Homecoming.
So you're still friends with everybody from Austin?
I'm friends with enough of them where you'll get like the friend part of the story, but I also dislike some of them enough to where you'd also get some really messy scenes, to say the least. I will be the king of the mess if that ever happened. But I'm telling you, it's going to be very challenging. It's not impossible by any stretch of the imagination. But it's just going to be very difficult because we're incredibly busy and they don't give very much notice for that kind of stuff.
It's funny when you mentioned the thing about, we're not trying to, be in the entertainment industry. And I'm like, is that a little dig at Mr. Johnny Bananas? And then the Key West thing came up and I was like, okay, we'll run with it. Look, I'm here for it. I'm personally not a huge Bananas fan. I was always more Team West anyway.
Good.
I think all three of us
do.
Yeah, well, because you guys got good taste. No one that pays attention, like leaves paying attention to the challenge and is like, oh man, I'm Team Bananas over Team West. Now, he can trick like children that aren't paying attention, but if you're like got your shit together and you're actually watching, no one leaves that and is like, oh, I'm Team Bananas. Like that's not a thing.
My husband, he doesn't watch the show or anything. And I was telling him that we were going to be talking to you. And I was just kind of explaining everything. I was like, he's probably the most intelligent person that's been on the challenge after all of these years. He was like, okay. So
yeah,
that's how he knows you as the most intelligent player.
Well, he knows me correctly then.
With a very high level of sarcasm intertwined with that intellect.
By the way, it's the foundation of my humor.
And I'm here for it because I personally love that kind of stuff. And I love people who are able to banter back and forth. But speaking of your level of intellect, since, you have other things to do in your life, so you're not spending as much time on the shows. Do you think anyone who is currently on the shows is anywhere near your level of just wit and intellect and sarcasm that you've been able to shine with?
This is not a dig at them. It's just I'm on another planet. So no one's even close. But that doesn't mean that they're not smart and funny. It's just I am like out there. Like it is I'm an enigma when it comes to those things. And I know it sounds cocky and all this kind of stuff, but it's just fucking true. And they're funny and they're smart. Like they're great. It's just there's me and then there's them and there ain't no dig. And then there's everyone else. It's like they're still up there. It's just it would be very good for their mental health to not compare themselves to me.
I love
We'll
it.
go with that. Yes.
That's how I feel with my friends. They treat
That's
me
how you
to compare themselves to me.
Listen, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
I mean, I know that with my friends, but it's okay. They tell me all the time. And I'm like, this is why I
Yep.
keep you guys around.
Yeah, you guys are all here to make my self-esteem better.
Exactly. And speaking of which, I don't know if you had a chance to watch All Stars 2, but if you did,
I did.
how proud are you of Casey's gameplay while she was there?
Loved it. Loved it. It was so good. I mean, there were so many like standout things that made me proud, or that were really, really entertaining of that season. And like, don't get me wrong, season 1 was good, but even though it was different, like season 2 might have been better in a weird way. Like season 1 like hit the nostalgia thing and the excitement, and it was just so nice it was a breath of fresh air, quite frankly. But then season 2's got Nehemiah taking over, Casey owning Derek, the salad scene, like what Ayana sleeping in her uniform. Like we've got that there was just so it's just a really good show. I don't even know.
I just
what
think
to say.
season 2 just found its groove.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It kind of settled in, and yeah, it was perfect.
I agree. I think that they could replicate season 2, which is good because we want to hopefully be watching many, many seasons of this for years to come. But it would be tough to replicate season 1, because there's just only so many like true, original cast members, and only so many nostalgia plays before it's kind of run its course. Versus this is, what I told Nehemiah the other day was I was like, they should have called it Masters, because Masters is the word that they use to describe the league of CrossFit or Ironmans or marathons for just slightly older people. So it's like 35 plus is in the Masters division. Well, this is just the Masters division of the challenge. It's still, and Masters also kind of sounds cool as in like you're good at something.
Right.
So it's slightly older, that is good. And I think that I see them doing things like season 2 for many seasons to come, and it's just such a fresh breath of fresh air to watch.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you think the flagship show could take notes on that All Stars has been succeeding with? Because a lot of the fans have been complaining about certain things, and as somebody who's actually been on the flagship show and has watched All Stars, what's your inside view?
I think the biggest mistake that they made is having them run concurrently. And if they fix that, I think that we would have a lot less complaints, because here we are in a dry spell right now. We've got no clue when we're gonna break our slump as fans. Like no clue. There was a little teaser of something that they put on the end of All Stars 2, but really we've got no clue what's happening. At the very least, I can tell you it's not going to be for a while. And we've been dry for a month now. And so why is it that I'm sure that there's a really good answer, but gosh darn it, it feels like a simple solution to when the flagship show ends. The next week is when the All-Stars show airs. And then when All-Stars finishes, then the flagship show. So what happens is we were 3 months into watching Spies, Lies, and Allies. We're getting kind of tired. And then they give us twice as much challenge content in a week. And it's new. It's kind of like, as Bananas would say, it's some strange. And strange feels good, which is such a bad comment, but strange feels good. And it's different and fresh. And so we start moving over to it. And it's so easy to talk shit on the thing that we're knee deep in. And if it had just been kind of staggered a little bit, then I think people would be complaining much, much less about the flagship if we were watching it right now. And then the flagship, timing wise, and this makes even more sense than the All Stars, and because there's less control. But gosh darn it, it was competing against Big Brother and Survivor on like the same nights.
Yeah.
And so it was harder to build up momentum for that. It's just, I don't know, there was just a lot. And so from a programming standpoint, I think that would be to me, feels like the most simple fix.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, because by the time season 37 concluded, I think we were like halfway through All Stars. And it was kind of like we're out of breath, almost like having to watch. And like if you're like us and we talk about the episodes, it's like, this is too much. Like I have to live my real life too. So
yeah.
I agree with that. You know, stagger it, keep us engaged for longer so we don't get bored and then get all mopey and sad.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of seasons, what is your favorite challenge season that you've done and what was your least favorite?
Probably my favorite was either the Duel or War of the Worlds 1.
Okay.
War of the Worlds 1 was really fun because it was all these like new international people that just brought these very unique perspectives that was just fun and challenging, but also fulfilling to kind of interact with. The Duel was just, it felt freeing to be on my own, and not have a partner. And it was just such an exotic location. And then it's like the cherry on top that I won. Then least favorite was the ruins. That was just a miserable experience. You know, in hindsight, it gave me a lot of, albeit regretful and cringeworthy scenes. There's still iconic scenes in the challenge universe. So, you know, even though it was a very miserable and literally traumatic time of my life, I don't regret it now because it's those scenes that live on in infamy that make it, that, you know, build up a moat around my brand, if you will, that other cast members are never really going to be able to replicate.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, The Ruins is probably my least favorite season too. So
Yeah,
as a fan,
it was a weird. That was a weird one. I mean, and you
it's
know,
weird.
they agree with it because there's why you haven't ever seen that format at all again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. Oh, or The Island, thank God.
The
Because I
Island.
hated The Island. It was terrible.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
all just looked, I don't, just everybody who was on it, because I know you weren't on that one, correct?
correct.
Yeah. The people who were on just looked miserable the whole time. I'd be pissed if my food was rationed. I didn't sign up for Survivor.
The thing is, though, I was called for that, so I know how the casting process works. I told them no. I remember where I was. I was on MTV Spring Break in South Padre, and they called me. And the pitch, normally they tell you nothing. Like, actually, they never tell you anything. But they did tell us something that time. They said, we're not feeding you. We're putting you in a place like this. This is what it's going to be like. We have to tell you because if we surprise you, it's our fault if you quit. And so everyone was absolutely warned. They knew what they were getting into. And there was one, maybe two quitters. So they, you know, but that doesn't make it any less miserable. I'm just letting you know, like from behind the scenes, they were warned. And I don't think we've ever known. They never, sometimes a theme or something will leak or we somehow figure it out. That's very seldom. But this time it was the only time ever that they've, in the very first phone call, they're like, this is what we're doing because if you're not mentally prepared, you're going to quit.
Yeah. I don't blame people who said no.
Yeah.
I feel like, no, thank you. It's already, I'm sure, stressful enough. I wouldn't want to do that. So we know that Fresh Meat was your first season, which it's an interesting season because it was like there was a whole slew of rookies, but then the other half was technically rookies too, like you and Danny, and I think you had a couple other people from your season.
Melinda and Johanna.
Yeah, okay, that's right. And it was your first season. You were partnered with Casey. You guys went into back-to-back eliminations. You guys made it to the final. But all these years later, if you could go back and talk to that Wes, would you give him any advice?
Of course, right? That was like a decade and a half ago. So it was a very long time. I was so full of piss and vinegar and competitive spirit that I let that out, and that is obviously just not correct. So you're just not supposed to be like that. Now I was only like 1 year removed from essentially being on Olympic level soccer, swimming, and track teams for my entire life. And so that is how all coaches, all parents, all teammates talk to you all the time. So you only scream at each other. If you are giving anything less than 100%, you better fucking quit and never come back. Like it is, you don't get to the levels that I was at without having that attitude. There's not really room for any other emotion. There's no room for weakness. There's no room for whatever. And I did that for the first 20 years of my life, barring like absolute early childhood. And then I go on this thing that feels super competitive. It looks and feels like a sport. And I just dropped myself back into, this is how soccer players talk to each other. This is how swimmers talk to each other. It's what you deserve if you're not giving anything, if you're giving less than 100%. And the reality of it is, I was wrong for like 5 reasons. Like, it isn't a sport. They didn't sign up to be like that. Nor is that even the right way to motivate everybody. And even if, let's say, Casey in this example shouldn't have said yes to going on a competitive show when she wanted nothing to do with competition or heights or really anything, yes, but she's still there and there's nothing that we can do about it. So maybe I just need to not be a little, idiot about it and say, okay, how do I take this not very good situation and make it at least slightly better? And so there was just a complete lack of empathy on my part to be able to read the room, and an inability for me to like much more like respectfully talk to her and other people around me, not just because they deserved it, but selfishly, it would have been better for my game. And so there's like a lot of reasons why I was wrong. There was a lot of reasons why I should have fixed it. And there's a lot of reasons why I did successfully. And, maturity has a lot to do with that. And, it obviously sucks to have to deal with not being a good person on TV, but it also accelerates the maturing process, because who knows how long it would have taken me to kind of see some of the things about myself that I didn't like as much and fix them in my real life, as opposed to seeing them on TV, getting the almost immediate feedback from fans or from just watching it and not liking it from that angle. So it accelerated my ability to become a better man, and I'll take those hits to be the guy that I am today.
Would you have kept the mohawk?
No. Now, again, it's similar to like the Ruins situation, where it's like I cringe when I watch the Ruins, but there are scenes in that make it iconic. Well, the mohawk is iconic. And so am I embarrassed of it now? Of course. Would I do it now? No. But it's things like that. Who is stupid enough to show up on international television with a mohawk that ugly? And the answer is me. And the attention from that is, helps.
Hey, I mean, we're still talking about it now.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
I mean, it's better than the Lloyd Christmas haircut Jordan was sporting a couple seasons ago. So
hey, we're still talking about it.
Please don't ever do it again. And now he's got like a mullet, so it's even worse. I don't know.
Well, I have a question.
Just my opinion.
So you said that you like being on the challenge. Would you ever go on something like Amazing Race or even Survivor, something like that?
I would not go on Survivor. I will not go on anything that is jury based, unless they pay me a shitload of money, because at this point I would be going on Survivor or Big Brother, let's say, to be an actor, as in just a TV personality. But I can't win a Survivor or a Big Brother because I don't have a sob story. I'm really good. I'm really smart. I'm really athletic. Those people.
Oh yeah, you'd be targeted right away.
So what's the point of me like moving my entire life around to show up to Fiji to get just absolutely crushed and sent home immediately? It's not worth it.
What about Amazing Race though?
I don't know enough about Amazing Race, but I imagine that I can defend myself there. And so I would much more consider that. Sounds way more in my wheelhouse. And Bananas and I would be a very good team. We're well traveled.
Yeah.
We're smart, and we'd be entertaining because we'd bicker the entire time.
Okay, so we need to make that happen.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
I would love to see that happen. I'd actually watch it.
What channel is that on?
CBS, I think. Is it CBS?
I don't know.
I think so.
If it is, it's possible. If it's not, it's
I just report it. I don't know what channel it's on.
Yeah, I would say I do the same thing. Sometimes I'm like 9 episodes into binging something, and then I need to finish it, and I'm like, was that on Hulu or was that on Paramount? Where was that?
I don't know.
So many streaming services. I have to like write stuff down.
There's a lot. And sorry to have to make you guys download another app to watch another show, but you're not going to forget. You're not going to forget. At least this one you don't have to pay for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of binge worthy, is there anything that you've binged recently that you would recommend we should watch?
To answer your question, I am in the middle of Pam and Tommy right now, and I only started it because I thought it was ready for binge. But news alert, it's not. There's only 4 episodes, so I made a mistake. So if anyone only likes to binge watch, you should wait a little bit. But it is really, really good.
Yeah, apparently there's like a talking penis or
There's
something.
a talking dick. There's a talking dick, and it was great.
That was great. Okay.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
I might have to watch it then.
It's so
to
weird. It's
try it.
good. And for some, like the courage it takes for some person in film to say we should do this and actually go through with it. It took. I mean, because it makes no sense why his dick just starts talking to him. But it's pretty good. It's really good. It's funny.
Well, and
have
it
to
takes
see
some
that.
balls to do that while the people are still very much like alive, like the actual people.
I'm actually thinking about watching some like behind the scenes like Q&As with some of the actors or producers, because I want to know like how involved Pam and Tommy were at all. Like, did they get it cut in? Did they give permission? Or like how do they feel about this? Because these are questions that I have, but I'm trying not to dig too far in because I want to wait until I finish the show. But it is very good.
Okay.
I'll have to add that to my list. I'm still on Archive 81 myself.
Same, yeah.
Which is very good. It's on Netflix.
Very good show, by the way.
All right, Archive. What is that about?
It's on Netflix about, it's hard to explain, basically like a haunted hotel, sort of.
So basically the main guy gets hired to digitalize these old tapes that were recovered from an apartment fire in 1994. And it's like really weird what happened. Like
it's like a cult involved.
Yeah, you can't figure it out if it's like paranormal or aliens. It's based off of a podcast. It's like a fictitious, like very Orson Welles feeling. It's pretty good.
I just Googled it and saw enough I have heard other people talk about it. The guy who edited the Blox said something like, after seeing this, I'm never gonna edit alone again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but now I kind of got a better idea. And as soon as you said the word cult, I'm in. I will watch or read or listen to anything and everything that has to do with the cult, because I am absolutely, I know it's wrong because cults are bad. Okay, I get that. But gosh darn it, they're entertaining.
They are.
There's that.
Did you ever watch the Leah Remini Scientology docuseries?
Yep. Of course. I've seen everything that has to do with the cults. Everything.
I watch a lot of that stuff too. I'm fascinated with it.
Foremost cult expert.
Okay, so if we ever have cult questions, we know who to hit up.
Contact
Wes.
right.
Gotta contact Wes about it. So a couple more challenge questions, and then we have a few rando questions that we like to ask before we let you go for the evening. So everybody has their own challenge Rushmore. Who would your challenge Rushmores be for men and for women?
Men would be CT, Bananas, Jarella, myself. On the women's side, it would be Cara, Rachel, Coral, and Evelyn.
So stacked. You guys
those are like mine too. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We're here for it. We agree with you on that for sure. So on Total Madness, we saw one of the longest running rivalries in challenge history finally kind of come to an end when you and Bananas allied up. Did you feel that it was a long time coming? Should it have been done sooner, or were you still kind of skeptical when it finally happened?
I was still skeptical. I'm sure he was too. But it's a lot of fun to be enemies with that guy. So it was like the death of like my real hobby in life, which is just to make his life miserable. And but it worked out well for both of us. I mean, one could say, why didn't you do it sooner? But there's lots of advantages by having a very public singular enemy, which is that everyone in the house feels comfortable with you because they know you're not coming for them. You're coming for Bananas and he's coming for me. So it's like, even though, yes, we start one step behind everybody else because you have an enemy that's like in the game, everyone else is just more comfortable with your presence. But on games where he's not around, people are like, who's Wes going for? And it's in everybody's head. And it's kind of easier. It's harder to navigate without a public enemy.
Makes
And
sense.
of course, we saw Josh try to unsuccessfully take Banana's spot as your number one rival.
Poor guy.
I still love that scene. You're just like, I'm just not interested, dude. Just stop.
Yeah,
Just
poor
stop.
guy. I
Yeah.
didn't mean for that to be as iconic of a scene as it became, but here we are.
I mean, what can you do when people are desperate? It's just not a good color on him.
He set himself up.
He did, and
He did.
fell. Well, he's done a few times, but we won't get into that. Do you have any other challenge questions, Tia or Frankie, before we do our randoms?
No, and it's not really a question. It's not challenge related though. We are all animal lovers and we love your dog.
Oh, well, thank you.
We love Penny. She's so cute.
So cute.
I know. Yeah, she's pretty adorable. And she's an absolute disaster devil dog. So she better be cute. You know what I'm saying?
Aw.
It's okay.
She's
My
good.
dogs.
Better.
I have a husky and an English bulldog. Nadine has a dachshund. And she's
I
got
love all
cats.
those.
We just
I
love
love them.
animals.
I know, me too. I'm a big animal guy, especially dogs. There's just, it's like the best mental health drug that there could possibly be. You just get around a dog, at least me, I'm just immediately happier and healthier and just more content. And they just remind you to just stop and chill and be mindful and smile. And they're just goofy. And
Yes.
yeah, I don't want to give your people a boring spiel. So
Oh
but we
no,
get it.
trust me,
We get
we're
it.
all animal lovers.
Yeah.
We love them all. We love them all. Okay, cool. Frankie, you got your random questions. These are fun. We just like to ask them every time we have somebody on so we can kind of get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So if you were a professional athlete, which sport would you be playing and for what team?
Any sport. And okay, are we taking pay into account?
No.
No. Okay, that changes things. If we're taking pay into account, then I'd want to be the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs and make $500 million.
I told them you were gonna say that.
But I would say, okay, then do we take into account lifestyle? Because now I'm thinking I might want to be a curler. Have you seen those curlers on the Winter Olympics? They look like my dad. Like that means that these guys just sit around and drink beers and like chuck a rock down some ice. Like, and so if pay is not a thing, let's say that no matter what, we're all paid like really good, but not crazy good and not bad. Like just let's call it no matter what the answer to my question is let's call it $250,000 a year. I'd want to be a curler.
Makes sense.
I was watching that earlier.
Good answer.
Yeah, but if you have to somewhat take pay into account, then maybe a European soccer player, because that's a artistic sport that is at like such a cool stage that's hard for Americans to wrap their heads around, and they're just gods, well-paid gods, and
they are.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I'm originally from Germany, so trust me, my parents are huge soccer fans.
Huge.
Oh yeah.
All of everyone is.
If the zombie apocalypse was to happen, how long would you survive?
Not into soccer. Just American football.
Well, it's okay to like both of them. And as far as the zombie apocalypse goes, I think it depends on who I'm with. If I've got a good alliance of people, okay, I'm not very manly in some categories. I have to acknowledge this. So, like camping and stuff is just not my style. I can't fix anything around my house. So those types of things, I can't fix my car. So these are things that I feel like might come into play in the middle of an apocalypse. Now, if it's just a matter of grit and how many zombies could I beat up with like a baseball bat and how long could I survive like in a miserable capacity just out of pure stubbornness, I think the answer is decades. But in all reality, if I know that things are going south, I might just join the crowd and just become a zombie right off the bat.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what kind of zombies too. If they're like the slow ones or the fast ones.
Yeah, exactly. I think I could handle, for the reason why I would want to be a curler, I think I could handle being a slow zombie. Because like, they don't look, they don't know what they're missing. They just walk around all slow. They're nice and relaxed. They're just out looking for flesh. Like they don't worry about their job. They don't worry about their life. They have no worries. And so why not just like join the relaxed majority? You know what I'm saying? Like quit trying to be the statistical minority of people just like running for their lives, you know.
Relaxed majority sounds like a band name.
I call them like I see them.
All right, if you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
Well, we just talked about how much I love dogs, so I guess I can't say that. But I don't know. A polar bear? Like,
That's an interesting answer.
Yeah.
guys, they just sit around and they just eat fish and they play in the snow and they're really fierce and their cubs are so cute. I would say a polar bear.
I hate the snow.
Oh, I love the snow.
If you were a polar bear, you'd love the snow.
You
That's
would.
Right.
Ooh,
Did
maybe,
you-
maybe a shark, like to just swim around
Yeah,
all
shark.
day and live in
just
the
eat?
ocean and eat everything. That sounds
Apex predator.
Yeah, you're the apex, unless like a whale comes around and smacks you. But yeah,
yeah, exactly.
My final question is, which way is the correct way to build a Lunchable?
And we're talking the original Lunchable
The original.
and what order it goes.
Yeah, or do you like use 2 crackers and double the meat and
Oh,
cheese?
no,
Two
never,
or
never.
single?
Open. It's called an open face Lunchable, and it goes cracker, salami, cheese, and you never close it. Never. It's a massive violation.
I agree.
I've never eaten a Lunchable. Am I missing out? I feel like I'm missing out.
You want to know
Not
what's underrated is Lunchable pizzas.
That is true.
And then and the extra little step that they don't even tell you to do, if you microwave that sucker, it's not as bad as you would think.
It's good for on the fly, on the go.
Yeah.
They're expensive now.
Are
So
they?
I am missing
They're
out.
like over
Is that what you're saying?
$2 for a Lunchable now.
$2.
When you remember when Lunchables used to be like $1?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have to buy my Lunchables when I was at the age to get Lunchables.
I'm just saying, like grocery shopping, I remember it used to be like you'd get 2 for $2. It'd be like $1 something. Now it's like $2.25, $2.35 because I like the little nacho ones.
Oh no, those are ones that I'm not prepared to try.
Nachos, just nachos, cheese, and some salsa.
I
It's
don't know.
nothing.
That feels like a risk.
Oh, but the salami is okay, and the pizzas in the microwave is perfect.
Yeah, I mean you've got a fair
No
point.
risk.
You got it. You're these are good questions.
Think on it. Just think on it.
Mhm.
Okay, Wes. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. We will be sure to download the app, the Blox, on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central. If the people are not already following you on social media, tell them where they can find you and what your handles are.
At Weston Bergmann, across the board.
Simple, sweet.
Mhm.
We love it. We are
Yeah.
the Challenge Unbothered on Instagram, on Facebook, also the Challenge Unbothered. There's also a Wes fan group now, by the way, that we will be sharing this in. We're racking up
Nice.
the members. We have a little over 1,000 right now. We're getting there. On Twitter, we are at Unbothered Pod 1, and on YouTube, the Unbothered Podcast. So we will be releasing this. Everything will be linked. We will share it with you and all that good stuff. And we are very excited.
Oh, cool. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed myself. I hope that I get to meet y'all in person one day. Keep
I
up the
know.
good work. You know, like it's so cool. It's so cool that with what you guys have built and being able to engage with a show that you love in this capacity is pretty darn cool. And
Yeah.
the cast members see this stuff and we get a kick out of it. And I'm honored to be on your show.
Absolutely. We never thought we would ever have this opportunity to talk to people we've been watching
Never.
and rooting for years. So it's amazing. The fact that you guys do this is even more amazing. Hopefully we'll meet you at a fan event one day. We know we missed you out on the last one though.
Oh, well, were you guys possibly going to go to St. Louis?
We were thinking about it, but because it was so soon after the holidays, and like Tia and I are on the East Coast, like I live in Maryland, she lives in Florida, travel just was like, right after the holidays. We have a couple friends that went though, and they said it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had
Get
a
all the
good
tea
time.
that way.
Yeah, it was a different format than what they usually do, and I think that there was pros and cons to it.
Yeah, there wasn't a panel. I
Not
heard.
really. We each got like 5 minutes on the mic to answer a couple of questions, but it was just the meet and greet basically.
Oh.
So like the advantage was everyone got to meet every single cast member, but the disadvantage was to take the time to do all that meant that there wasn't really a show aspect to it. But I guess it kind of depends on what those fans wanted.
Yeah.
Did they prioritize having a show that was entertaining, or did they prioritize getting to physically meet every single person that was on the lineup? If you wanted a show, you didn't get it. If you wanted to meet everyone, You got it.
Right.
It was very well organized. But there's basically 4 of us there, 4 giant lines. You wait in the lines. After about 2 hours, you've met everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to the one in Tampa and it was some meet and greet and then they had the panel and I liked it that way. We got the VIP tickets for that reason.
Yeah, that feels like the answer, because if you really care about the meet and greet, you pay a little bit extra, and if you really care about just being a part of the community a little bit, then it's a
right. And to be honest, most of the Challenge Mania events, except for this one, because Rumble Mania or whatever the hell it was, happened to also be going on. But most of the time they go out afterwards anyway to all the bars and stuff, and you just meet them there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we'll see you in the future. Thank you again so much, and we hope you have a great night, Wes.
All right.
Thanks for talking
Thank
to us.
you.
This was great.
Of
Bye.
course. Bye.
Bye.